Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding Bava Daf Kuf Zayin. Shir sponsor Lui Nishma Sayim Yakashom Napasitzchok. This is a recording of a repeat of the Shir that was given on Shabbos, so we'll be given short. The Gemara says we're starting off Kuva when we base in the bottom. So the Gemara. One who says Tainas Ganov B'Pikodin, meaning he's a shamer, he's holding on to an chayfetz, and the owner came and said, "Where's my chayfetz?" He said it was stolen. Then he found out he was lying. He's only chayav if he will admit partial and deny partial. Simple understanding. The ruler gives to Shimon the chayfetz. He comes to Shimon and says, "Shimon, where's my chayfetz?" He gave him, he says, well, 50% you didn't give it to me at all. The other 50% was stolen. My time, it says in the Pasuk, Kiyuzeh. Where it says Kiyuzeh, in Parsha Mishpatim, when it speaks about the Shomer, the way Parsha Mishpatim is structured, is you have the Parsha, the first Parsha speaks about Shomer Chidam, the next Parsha speaks about Shomer Sachar, a guard who is being paid, and the next Parsha speaks about a Shoyel, about a borrower. In the Parsha Shomer Chidam, it says, it says Kiyuzeh is the source from Moed Mitzas. He's Moed on this, Kihu on this, and not something else. It says Kiyuzeh b'Shomer. So in order to get to the Parsha of Shomer, where one has to pay for Toyin Tainas Ganov, for lying about the fact that it was stolen, you need to have Moed Mitzas. You need to have a partial admission. That's an argument of Yosef. There's a mixture of parshas, meaning, what does it mean, Erev Parshas Kosokan? So as the more goes on, it says, Kiyuzeh refers to a loan, not a shemer. As Rashi, the way Rashi explains, later in Parsha Mishpatim, we have the psukim that start with the words, in kesef tal v'sami, speaking about a loan. The word Kiyuzeh belongs there. Hi Kiyuzeh is written earlier by Shomer Chidam, doesn't belong there. That's called Eruv Parshas Kosokan. You have a mixture of parshas. You have words in one place that don't belong here. Obviously, if something is written here, there's a purpose for it. And we'll be married on this, we'll touch upon this point in the Shur Machshav and the Daf. But the words Kiyuzeh don't belong here. And according to Rashi, it means it doesn't belong here at all. Tosis, there's a very long Tosis here in the note. And Tosis brings two other pirushim. One thing that Tosis maybe doesn't say meferish, but comes out from the Rishonim is that it's a very big doichak to say that the word Kiyuzeh does not refer to anything regarding Shomer. So why was it written here? A peep shot. Why is Kiyuzeh written over here? According to Rashi, Kiyuzeh by Shomer Chidam does not apply at all. It applies only to a loan. It's hard to say that. Tosis brings two other pshatim. There's the Pirush of Binu Tam. Binu Tam is the one who says that every time, even by a shemer, you need to have a partial admission. But what is it? So what is Rabbi Bayesef saying? We don't have Kiyuzeh. The partial admission, according to Rabbi Bayesef, means you need to have. Let's say we talk about two animals. One animal he says was stolen. The other animal he says it was nenas, it died. Meaning, he's not saying the entire thing was stolen. 50% was stolen. 50% is nenas, it's gone. According to the first one, Amar, you need to have 3 cows. That's what Rabbeinu Tam says. 1/3, he says, was stolen. 1/3, he says, died. 1/3, he denies. According to the first man, Amar, you cannot mischayev with the shvuah unless you have a complete denial that never happened. You never gave me this portion. That's the first one. That's Reb Chia Bar Abba. Reb Chia says you don't have to have a full denial that he says never happened, but you do have to have 50% that he says wasn't stolen. That's how Rabbeinu Tam learns. The Riva says learns like this: when we're saying Pikadon and Milveh, we're not talking about a different story, a different parasha. We're talking about a Shomer himself. The Shomer, there's 2 types of tainas that he could say. He could say a taina that belongs only to Pikadon, only to something which is deposited by him, and that is Nensu. When Reuben comes to Shimon, where's the item I gave you? Well, I'm sorry, it got broken, it got lost, it died. That doesn't belong to Aganav. Right? Aganav can't say, he never gave it to him, he stole it. So by the taina by Aganav is never happened. Never happened belongs to both, to Aganav and to Hashem. Aganav could say, I never stole from you. Shimon could say, you never deposited by me. Says the Rivo like this. If he says that it was Nensu, then you don't have to have a Moedim Mitzvahs. Then you could say, similar to Binutam, you could say that you say partial is Nenas, partial is gone, or you could just say that according to Rivo, you can even say fully stolen. But when you have a taino of Lo Yoyu Dvarim Ha'olam, when he says never happened, then it has to be partial. It has to be that he's Moed V'Miktzas. That's what says the Rivo. If you look inside, if you want to see it inside, the Rivo, in the middle, it's a long Tosis. So it's towards the last third of the Tosis. Tosis brings a question of Binutam. And then says, the Lashon is, the Niyake Push Rivo, to Mefarish, Kektiv Kuzeh Milvu Dichtiv, V'ilkach Bepikodem Nami Lo Kurin, Ela Betaino, the Shaycha B'Milvu. Only the Taino, you could say both by Halvo and by Pikodem. Taino B'Kfiro V'Hidom, when he denies it. Taino's then Suloi. But when a person is then, so you don't have to have Moedim Miktzas. So that's what more says. Meaning, by Hashem itself, depends which taina it is. There's some tainas we have to have Moedim Miktzas, some not. So just to summarize, you have three pshatim in the Rishonim. Rashi learns that by Hashem you don't have to have any partial admission, and Kuzeh refers to loan only. When the Talmud learns, you do have to have partial admission, but the partial admission doesn't have a complete denial. Partial admission, it could be part of it was stolen, part of it is gone. And according to Riva, it depends which taina there is. If it's a taina that was gone, you don't have to have partial admission. If the taina is it never happened, then you have to have partial admission. Now it goes on to explain. Why milva is different? Why did the Torah say that a person who partially admits needs to do a shvuah? Einodom means a person doesn't have the guts to deny the loan. The Pashup Shad, that's what Rashi learns over here. When a person gave him a favor, a person lent him money, can't come and say in front of his face, whatever he did never happened. The high Bekula Biden, if he really wants to deny the whole thing. For the reason he did not deny it, he doesn't have the guts to do it. He really wants to admit the whole thing as well. Why did he deny partial? If I will admit the whole thing, he's going to come and make me pay the whole thing. I will try to avoid him for now until I have money, and then I'll pay it. Meaning he's giving himself an excuse. He says, I'm going to pay the guy. I gave him partial, the other part I'll give him later. Therefore, the Torah gave a shvu on him, so he will admit the whole thing. That's the idea of Moedim Mitzvahs. So that he did him a favor, meaning the lender gave him a favor, so then he doesn't have the guts to deny it. But by Pikadon, he does, and therefore at Pikadon, we don't have to have Moedim Mitzvahs. That's according to Rashi. So according to Rashi, the Gemara just says, only by a loan I need Moedim Mitzvahs, now you Pikadon. According to Binutam, you don't say the last sentence. But Pikadon, he doesn't want to deny it. According to Tosis Metzia learns that the reason we say he doesn't want to deny it is not because he did him a favor, but just because a person can't deny outright something which he knows is true. Something he knows his friends knows is true. His friend gave him the money. He knows it's true. So to come and say, no, it would never happen, that person can't do it. So also Bashir made the same thing. So he takes away this sentence. Because he says, also because you have to have Moedim Mitzvahs, but you don't have to deny it, you can say it was gone. According to the Riva, this will be, what it means here, the milva, meaning in a time of halva. When he says, never happened, that's something, how do you have a guts to lie in someone's face when he gave it to you? But pikadon, to say got a tiny pikadon, I'm saying it was nenas. The guy doesn't know what happened in my house. I'm saying there was some fire and he burned down the chayfetz that he gave me. So according to Yeshiva, you do quote this sentence. So what Tani Ryan Bachama said, Arbo Shoimrim Kavzayim Base. Tzurichin Kfir b'miktzos v'oido miktzos. The Shoimrim, the ones who are holding on deposit, they need to deny partial and admit partial, meaning not like a B'chir Bar Yosef. How do we know that? And first of all, what were the Shoimrim? Ve'elohem. Shoim Echinam, person who was guarding with no money. Hashoyel, a borrower, someone borrowed something to use it. Noise Sachar, Shoim Sachar is being paid to guard the item. V'asoicher is a renter. My time what's the reason I'm Bachamo? Shoim Echinam be'edikti be'qz. I've just said it says qz in the pasuk, and it's speaking about Shoim Echinam. Shoim Sachar, you'll have seen in the scene of Shoim Echinam, because both it says ki and ish l'reyu. Person gives his friend, it says in both. So you learn one from each other. Shoyel, it says v'chi ishel, the vav before, vav moisim l'in rish is adding to the previous partial, the Shoim Echinam, Shoim Sachar, to tell me also by him, you need to have a partial admission. Soicher, what's a soicher? Renter. So you have a machlok is how do we treat a soicher. The Mador, Shoim Sachar, according to Adam, holds that a soicher has a din of a paid guard, and Shoim Sachar, we already said Shoim Sachar. The Mador, Shoim Echinam, and Shoim Echinam, so we already said it. So that is, he's coming to argue on B'chir Bar Yosef. Continues the Gemara. Someone who says, says, this item that you give me was stolen. And you're chayav at sheishlach b'yad. He's only chayav on the shvuah if he actually used the item. Shlach b'yad means he used it. My time up, the pasuk says he'll come to a shvuah if he did not touch the meleches re'eh. According to B'chir Bar Yosef, the way you read it is, he's going to come to a shvuah that he didn't touch it. That's the shvuah. I never touched it. Michlal di shor be'anash if he touched it. Mechayev, that's why he's chayev. The name of the B'shor be'ad is king. We were talking about that he touched it. And he's coming to say he never did. Now we find out he did. We come in and find out that what he's saying, what he's claiming is a lie. B'chir Ba'aba says, B'chir said, no, we're talking about that he didn't touch the animal. The animal is standing on its avusa, the place where it eats from, and it's eating right now. Nothing changed by the animal. Is he saying only in that case? That's when the shvuah works? But if he did shlichus yad, he's koine the item. The shvuah and the shvuah doesn't do anything. Why shvuah doesn't do anything? So according to Rashi, the reason shvuah doesn't do anything, because right now, by using it, he's koine it. By using it, becomes his. He owns it now. Meaning he did shlichus yad, he's koine the item. Now he's doing shvuah on something which is his. That's how, just to mention this, that's how the Rashi learns. But the other Rishonim, the Ravid and the Rosh, they learn a little differently. So again, just to repeat what Rashi says. Rashi learns that if Sholach Bayad, according to this, on this stage of the Gemara, what's the reason that there's a tzad in the Gemara, that according to Rabbi Yochanan, in that case, according to B'chir Ba'aba and Rabbi Yochanan, in that case, you don't have shvuah because Sholach Bayad, he was koine the chayfetz. Koine the chayfetz, you don't have shvuah anymore. So that's in this case. That's why Sholach Bayad, you don't have a shvuah. The Rosh and the Ravid, they learn differently. They learn that we're talking about, it's considered to be, just to mention inside, the Rosh learns that the shlichus yad is pointed from Taino because it becomes chayav b'oin sitwa. That's what it is. Meaning that it's true. I said the Rosh Hashanah. It's really it's the Rambam. The Rambam says because it left as way more accurate. According to the Rambam, the reason why the shvuah doesn't work is because consider that it left the rishus of the shomer. Meaning, what does it mean it left the rishus of the shomer? Not that the guy owned it, but it's not anymore in the rishus of the owner. Not that the ganav was koinet, but it left the rishus of the owner. What does it mean? So the Chayim explained it's similar to goyim min ganav. We learned early in the Masechta. When someone steals from a thief, he doesn't pay to the original owner. Why not? Ain't a rishus. It's not the rishus of the owner. So while the guy is still guarding it, it's considered to be the rishus of the owner, and on that you have a shvur. But once he's sholach biyad, it's considered to be that it's not anymore the rishus of the owner, and therefore the shvur doesn't work anymore. Okay, so two ways to learn it. There's a community between them. Right? One of community is what happens if he does shlichus yad and then he does the gneva. Right? What in other words, what happened first? He was trying to his ganav and then he did shlichus yad. He said it was stolen, then he touched it, or he touched it and then he did shlichus yad. Right? The Gemara is going to say later, we're going to speak about Torah Taras Olav and Torah Taras Ganav. Right? Rashi Torah Taras Ganav came even after. But if you're saying that it left the Rishus and the Shvua doesn't work, or to the Rambam, why Shvua? The Shvua should work both ways. So, according to Rashi, Pshat is, once Rishus B'Yad becomes his. Now he's doing Taras Ganav, it's something that doesn't belong to him. But if he didn't do Shlichus Yad until later, so when he said Taras Ganav, it was his. But according to the Rambam, it left the rishus of the owner. So the shvua is not chal of something that's not in the rishus of the owner. It doesn't matter the sequence. That's what I want to say between Rashi and the Rambam. But see, let's just wanted to point out this Rambam. Says the Gemara, Amalei. So the Gemara is asking, is Rabbi Yochanan saying, maybe Rabbi Yochanan is saying it doesn't make a difference. I mean, the first side of the Gemara is that Rabbi Yochanan is saying that if he touched it, then there's no shvur. And that's why we're talking about only if he did not touch it, and then you have a shvur of Torah Taras Ganav. Second side of the Gemara is Dilmo, meaning you're talking about both. Doesn't matter if you touch it or did not touch it, always there's Torah Taras Ganav. I didn't hear that. I heard something similar. Person that said Taras Ovad, and then he did a shvur. Then he did Taras Ganav in his Nishba. So what did he do? He did Taras Ovad. He said it was lost. He did a shvur. Then he said it was stolen. Did a shvur. He's potter. My time. Because he was coined in the first shvur. So according to Rashi, what does it mean? Once he did shvur on the Ovad, so now you can't. There's no chiyuv moment anymore. Once he did shvur, I'm not paying you anymore. As Rashi to say in the next half. The only time we learned earlier that you pay for every shvur, that's only when he was moed on his own. But if you have Eidim, you don't pay for the second shvur. So the first shvur made it basically his. He doesn't have to pay anymore. So that's why there's no Taras Ganav. So, or according to the Rambam, it left the rishus of the owner in that case. So if so, you see that you don't do Taras Ganav once you coin it. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan says. So the same thing when you start Sholach Bayad. Amalei loy. Not because he was coined it, just because he was nifted for Rishonah, as we just mentioned. Meaning, the Havri meaning of the Gemara was that the shvur makes it his. So no, the shvur doesn't make it his. Once you do shvur, there's no other shvur. So that's why you don't pay for the second shvur, even though it's not his. But if when it becomes regarding Sholach Bayad, if it becomes his or not, that's a whole different story. It has nothing to do with shvur. That's when he did the first shvur, and he was nifted b'shvur, you can't give him another shvur. That's what you don't have. Taras Ganav. Nothing to do with the fact that he was kohen. That's what the Gemara wants to say over here. Here also, just to mention, we have another machlekes rishonim, Rashi, and against the. Here's where I said before the Rosh. Here's where the Rashi argues on the Rosh and the Ravid. Rashi learns that we're talking about that according to Rav Sheshet, according to if we're learning like Rabbi Yochanan, they have both. So he's saying he's not kohenet, and just the shvur rishon takes it away. Why does the shvur rishon take it away? So Rashi says, Rashi, lo yosel lamishu dekal b'shusu, elo mishoy v'yotza shem zeh debai shvur rishon shemi b'istim rishon nistalik miyodo. He's out. Shvur acher zeh la shvur zadayonim. Doesn't have shvur zadayonim. So here okay, you know what? Let's leave it for a different. This is a different Indian. Let's say we're having a machlekes. It really depends what we said before. Says the Gemara, Eat my nami, Hatoyin teres avedu b'kodem, v'nishba v'choza v'toyin teres gnevo, v'nishba. So you have avedu, and then he's nishba. He did gnevo, and he's nishba. Uvo eidim, potter. You see, the reason is not because he owns it, but because of shvur, we showed him because he was nifter from the shvur, and that's like the second time that we said. In other words, there's no raya over here from Rabbi Yechanan that he holds once you coin it, so then there's no toys taras gav. Amar Sheshis says, "Toys taras gav pikodin, gav pikodin, kvan shalach b'yad potter. Once he was shalach b'yad, he's potter." Meaning like the second, like the first sound we had by Rabbi Yechanan, right? But the one now says my time. We have a pasuk. Nikra Bava said, the way you read the pasuk, he will go do shvur if not that. If he didn't do shlichus yad, hashalach yodoi. But if he did shlichus yad, potter. He's potter. Why is he potter? So you would think he's potter because he was koinit, like we said before. According to Rabbi Yechanan, where according to Rabbi Yechanan said that. According to the first side of the Gemara, only if he didn't touch it. If he touched it now, because he was kohen it. So here also, Rosh says that's exactly the pshat we have, the same reason we had before. But here the Gemara brings a pasuk. The other Gemara said Misvara. So Taisus learns, no, here's a special exercise, a kasov. The once you do shalach yad, that's not his. Doesn't mean that every time you're kohen it, you don't do a shvur. That's what to say. Change is a little different. And here comes, just to mention Mamash briefly, the shaila is, can you have Sheshis and Rabbi Yechanan go together? So perhaps the way we're learning now, according to the Taisus, the answer is they cannot go together because with Sheshis we said holds that he's koinit. According to Rabbi Yechanan, you have Gzez Kosov. According to you don't think it's Gzez Kosov. And the more as it sounds, according to Rabbi Yechanan, you're not koinit. You're koinit. Different reasoning. But the Rambam puts Sheshis and Rabbi Yechanan together. So the shaila is, how does you put them together? And that's a big discussion in the Achronim, that the Rambam learned a little differently than Divrei Rabbi Yechanan, similar to what we said before. And mainly, if you learn differently the way Rabbi Yechanan is not saying a gather of Kinyan, that maybe you could put Rabbi Yechanan and Shesh together, just to have it as a Mari Mokum. There is a discussion that we shouldn't have to understand the svar of everything. But the Pashup Shat, let's think of it with Rashi. Gemara says, when we have you basically called three tzdadim. We have a tzad that says that Shomer is doing shvur sepikodim, is doing a shvur only if shalach b'yad. That's Reb Chia Bar Yosef. Only if he touched it. He touched it, he used it. That's when you have a shvur. If not, the shvur you don't have a shvur. You have a sheish that says the exact opposite. No, if he touched it, there's no shvur. Shvur is only if he did not touch it. And then you have Rabbi Yechanan that we're not sure what he said. Does he say that if he touched it? If you touch it, then there's no shvur, right? Let's see what this is. Rabbi Yechanan for sure said that if he did not touch it, you have a shvur, like Rav Shesha says. He didn't touch it. But if he did touch it, where did Rabbi Yechanan say we're not sure? Did he say if he touched it, you don't have a shvur because he was kohenet, according to Rashi? Or also if you touched it, you have a shvur in both. So maybe it's 3 to 4 tzdadim in the Gemara. So the Gemara of Nachman, Rach has asked, there's 3 shvuos we give the Shem. Shvuo shaloi pashati, but shvuo that didn't, wasn't prishia. Shvuo shaloi shlachti bayad, shvuo that didn't touch it. Shvuo she'eder b'shus, and shvuo that it's not in my possession. Now we have 3 shvuos. The Gemara now is going to compare shvuo number 1, shvuo number 2 to shvuo number 3. My love, shvuo shaloi shlachti bayad, do me the shvuo she'eder b'shus. Shvuo number 2, shvuo 3, the same thing. Right, what does it mean? It's not in my possession. So someone took it. So if you find out it is in his possession, that's the classic turning to his gab, he pays double. So when he says shvur that I didn't touch it, also if you find that he touched it, he pays double. So so you do pay when he touched it, like a sheshes. If you compare shvur 2 to shvur 3, you do pay. Now the change that says if you touch it, you don't pay for the shvur. Shvur shloshat bayad do mishloi pashatipo. You compare shvur number 1 to shvur number 2. Ma shvur shloi pashatipo ki bigali bills in the posher of potim kefil. Shvur they didn't do pshio. If you find that he did do pshio, you don't pay kefil. Right? If you find that he was negligent, There's no kefil. Kefil is only if it was stolen. If you didn't touch it, you find that he touched it, brought to be kefil, even though he claimed it was stolen. Meaning, you're saying the fact there's 3 shvuos, 2 and 3 go together. No, 2 and 3 don't go together. 1 and 2 go together. Sorry, 1 and 3 go together. 1 and 3 is compared to number 1, not to number 2. Number 2, if you find that he lies, you pay double. But number 1, he didn't do if it was negligent, or number 3, if he touched it, if that shvu he finds it that is wrong and he claimed it was stolen, you did not pay kefil. So there's no raya from the 3 shvuos against Rosh Hashanah. With this we end Daf Kuf Zayin.